You sit down somewhere, a bed after a long day, a bathroom floor at 2 a.m., a bus seat during your commute. The location doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling. You sit there not because you're tired, but because something inside you quietly collapses. And if you've lived through this even once, you know it doesn't break loudly. It just folds, softly, silently, as if your heart whispers, I can't hold all of this at the same time. This is what the psychology of trauma survivors looks like. This is the silent collapse that happens when you've been through too much. I'm going to show you the hidden psychology behind this weight you carry, why your nervous system responds the way it does, and most importantly, how healing actually begins. Let's start with what's happening in your brain. People ask, why are you so calm about things that should bother you? You don't know how to explain that it's not calmness, it's the quiet numbness that grows when your nervous system has been in survival mode so long that it mistakes hyper-vigilance for normal. Let's be clear about what's happening in your brain. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, one of the world's leading trauma researchers and author of the book The Body Keeps the Score, explains that when you experience prolonged trauma or chronic stress, your amygdala, your brain's threat detection center, becomes hypersensitive. Your hippocampus, which processes memories, can actually shrink. Your prefrontal cortex, responsible for emotional regulation, gets overworked. This is neuroscience. This is how your body was designed to survive threat. This is why you overthink so much, why you scan for tone changes in every conversation, why you prepare for problems that haven't happened. Your mind learned that uncertainty was dangerous, so it built defenses you never consciously asked for. This is hyper-awareness, one of the core psychological adaptations of people who have carried too much. You develop what psychologists call emotional duality. You feel everything deeply while appearing completely composed. You sense tension in a room before anyone speaks. You read the subtext of conversations while others hear only words. You know how to read silence. You know how to sense conflict before anyone feels it. You step around emotional landmines the way someone steps around broken glass. You calm others while your own heart is trembling. Here's what nobody tells you about forced maturity. It creates a strange contrast. You become the person who comforts others so naturally that people don't realize you've never truly been comforted yourself. You understand others because you've had to understand yourself in ways most people never do. You know how to give warmth because you've lived through cold chapters. You know how to hold space because you've had moments when no one held it for you. But behind all that empathy hides something else: emotional exhaustion. The quiet exhaustion of someone who has been strong for too long. Not the external exhaustion you show the world, but the internal one you carry alone. The exhaustion that isn't healed by sleep, only by understanding. You become someone who can carry everything except yourself. Someone who gives clarity but lives with questions. And it's not because you don't trust others, it's because your mind learned that relying on someone else was unpredictable. And unpredictability, for people who have been through too much, feels like the beginning of instability. This is why individuals with trauma histories become emotionally independent to the point of isolation. But independence for them isn't confidence, it's protection. It's a shield. It's the safest option in a world that has felt unsafe too many times. There's a tenderness in people who have been through too much. A gentleness that comes from knowing what pain feels like, in experience, not theory. This is your deep empathy, and it's often misinterpreted as weakness. But here's the truth. Softness doesn't come from having an easy life. It comes from having a difficult one. A life that taught you empathy through immersion. A life that showed you everyone carries something they're not talking about. You notice the small things. You feel the emotional tone behind someone's words. You sense when they're hurting before they say it. You show up in ways others overlook. This is complex emotional intelligence, a sophisticated personality psychology that develops from necessity, not choice. But that sincerity comes with a price. You're easily wounded, not by cruelty, but by carelessness, not by hostility, but by inconsistency, because inconsistency feels like the beginning of abandonment. When someone who has gone through too much reacts strongly to something small, it's not the present moment they're reacting to. It's the echo of all the past moments where they felt unsafe, unprotected, unheard, or unseen. Their body responds to patterns even when the present is harmless. Let's talk about these psychological adaptations that form when you've been through too much. These aren't character flaws, they're trauma responses your brain developed to keep you safe. Hyper-vigilance. You scan every room for emotional danger. You notice tone shifts, facial micro-expressions, changes in energy. You're constantly assessing, is this safe? Is this person trustworthy? What's the threat level? Emotional bracing. You prepare for the worst outcome even when things are going well. When someone says, "We need to talk," your nervous system floods with cortisol before you know what it's about. Anticipatory anxiety. You play out every possible disaster scenario, not because you're pessimistic, but because your brain learned that being caught off guard is dangerous. Fawning response. You people please. You apologize excessively. You minimize your own needs. You become whoever the room needs you to be because conflict feels life-threatening. Emotional independence. You don't ask for help because asking for help in the past led to disappointment or exploitation. So you become hyper self-sufficient. But it's not confidence, it's protection. These are survival instincts. They make complete sense given what you've lived through. But here's the hard truth.
Everything I've described, the hypervigilance, the forced maturity, the emotional exhaustion, psychology can name it. Therapists can treat it. But here's what secular psychology struggles to fully address. Why does the wound feel so existential? Why does the exhaustion feel like it touches something deeper than just your mind? This is where we discover something crucial. You're not just a brain. You're not just a collection of trauma responses. You are body, mind, and spirit. And when trauma touches all three, you need healing that addresses all three. Dr. Vanderkolk's research demonstrates that trauma is stored in your body, in muscle tension, in your breath, in your gut. Healing from emotional trauma requires addressing the body, not just the mind. Deep breathing activates your vagus nerve, which regulates your stress response. Movement helps discharge cortisol. Sleep is when your brain processes trauma. But there's also a spiritual dimension to healing that science is only beginning to understand. In Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, there's an ancient invitation. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Not after you've figured out how to fix yourself, not when you're stronger. Now, weary, burdened, barely holding on. This isn't self-help advice. This is an invitation to bring your psychological collapse, your emotional exhaustion, your survival instincts, all of it, to someone who understands. There's a specific psychology to quiet people, those who have learned to carry their storms privately. You've become an expert at emotional camouflage. You know exactly which phrases to use to end conversations about your struggles. You know how to redirect attention. You know how to smile while your mind calculates how to survive the week ahead. This is self-protection. And here's the painful truth. You learned this by watching what happened to people who were honest about their struggles. They got pitied, avoided, or they became projects, not people. You learned that vulnerability is high risk, so you keep your storms private. You only admit to struggles that are socially acceptable. Your quiet strength is real, but it's also exhausting. But emotional self-protection is not the same as weakness. It's your nervous system trying to keep you functional in an environment that hasn't proven safe. Healing from emotional trauma isn't about erasing what happened or returning to who you were before. You'll never be that person again. Trauma changes you. That's neuroscience. Your brain rewires itself. New neural pathways form. Your threat detection system recalibrates. But healing means integrating what happened into a narrative where it no longer controls you. It means building self-awareness about your triggers and patterns. It means developing self-compassion for the ways you've had to adapt. Here are practical steps that honor both psychology and wholeness. 1. Name what happened without spiritualizing it prematurely. Before you jump to, "This happened for a reason," sit with, "This hurt me, and that matters." 2. Address your body. As Van de Kolk's research shows, your body keeps the score. Practice deep breathing, move your body, prioritize sleep. These aren't luxuries, they're necessities for nervous system regulation. 3. Seek professional help. Therapy isn't a lack of strength, it's wisdom. Find a trauma-informed therapist who understands complex PTSD and healing from emotional trauma. 4. Set boundaries. If Jesus modeled boundaries, withdrawing from crowds, saying no to constant demands, you're not wrong for having them. Boundaries are biblical stewardship of the heart you've been given. 5. Find safe people. Not perfect people, safe people. People who can sit with your pain without trying to fix it. People who don't offer cliché comfort. People who say, "I don't understand, but I'm here." 6. Remember, healing isn't linear. You'll have good days and terrible days. Growth isn't a straight line. That's normal. That's human. Here's what's happening as you heal. Your identity shifts from survivor to someone who is whole. Survivor honors your strength, but if you stay there forever, you remain defined by your trauma. Wholeness is an identity built on who you truly are, not because of what you've overcome, but because of your inherent worth as a human being. You're becoming someone with self-awareness that most people never develop. You understand your triggers, your patterns, your wounds. That's not weakness, that's emotional intelligence. You're becoming someone who can hold space for complexity. You don't need neat answers. You can sit with paradox. You can live in the tension of hope and grief, strength and exhaustion. You're becoming someone whose compassion is costly. You don't offer cheap comfort. You offer presence. You're becoming someone who breaks generational patterns. The trauma stops with you. Your children, your community, your sphere of influence will benefit from the healing you're pursuing. You didn't just survive. You're transforming pain into purpose, and that is sacred work. If you've carried too much for too long, let me tell you what you need to believe. You are not too broken for healing. You are not too complicated for grace. You are not too tired for redemption. You are beyond restoration. Your story isn't over. The last chapter of your life will not be defined by what was done to you, but by what you chose to become after it. You are not your trauma. You are not your triggers. You are not your worst moments or your darkest thoughts. Overcoming emotional burden doesn't mean the weight disappears overnight. It means you learn to carry it differently. It means you discover you don't have to carry it alone. Psalm 147 verse 3 says, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." Not "He heals those who are good enough." He heals the brokenhearted, present tense, active, ongoing. Your exhaustion doesn't disqualify you. Your questions don't disqualify you. Your complexity doesn't disqualify you. You don't need to be stronger, you need to be honest. And in that honesty, healing begins. The silent collapse you feel sometimes, that's not the end. It's your body finally feeling safe enough to let go. And that's where healing truly begins. If this resonated with you, you're not alone. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, Your quiet strength, your deep empathy, your complex emotional intelligence, these aren't weaknesses. They're testaments to what you've survived and who you're becoming.